coronavirus cases could go up to 100,000 a day if the current trend doesn't turn around. But what they don't mention is that the actual deaths that are being reported. Here's an article that says the media ignores deaths dropping by 90%. New coronavirus death low since April 21st. And this is what I've been mentioning recently. I put up that chart recently. I'm like, the deaths are going way down. And I don't know if it's because I don't know. I don't know the exact reason. Maybe they haven't been able to fake them as much lately or something like that. I don't know. But this article says, so I wake up this morning and I know I shouldn't be surprised by this, but stop me if you've heard this before. The mainstream media is completely ignoring that deaths have set yet another new coronavirus low. Yesterday, 273 people supposedly died in the US with the coronavirus, which is down over 90% from the high set back in late April. So I was already saying that these deaths that they're saying, they actually say the flu kills 500,000 people a year, 500,000. That's about what COVID has done so far. If you believe either of those stats, I don't believe either of them. I actually don't. I think the flu isn't actually a virus that's transmitted. But if you pay attention just to their numbers, the death rate's almost like negligible when you have a population of 350 million people. And if you have 200 to 300 people dying every day, supposedly from this thing, it's almost negligible, but they're ramping this up big time. And of course, they're pushing the vaccines huge. And I saw this article, very interesting. It says, vaccinated versus unvaccinated. Guess who is sicker? Well, I can guess. This is very obvious. My mom was paralyzed by the swine flu vaccine. But this article says, it's never been done before. The first of its kind study of vaccinated versus unvaccinated American homeschooled children shows who is really ailing, and parents should be worried. Something is wrong with America's children. They are sick, allergic, asthmatic, anxious, autoimmune, autistic, hyperactive, distracted, and learning disabled. 32 million American children, a full 43% of them, suffer from at least one of 20 chronic illnesses, not including obesity. Across the board, one rare pediatric disorder from autism and ADD to type 1 diabetes and Tourette syndrome is soaring, though few studies pool the data. Compared to their parents, children today are 4 times more likely to have a chronic illness. And while their grandparents might never have swallowed a pill as children, and I just want to mention, a lot of people are like, how are you still alive? You used to like drink like crazy, you smoke like 3 packs a day, you were never sick. It's because I rarely ever my entire life took any pharmaceuticals. I took a few, mostly antibiotics, when you have something like that, but I've never, whenever it's like, even when I have a headache, people say, take aspirin or something. I'm like, no, like I just don't take that stuff. And so this article says, compared to their parents, children today are 4 times more likely to have a chronic illness. And while their grandparents might have never swallowed a pill as children, the current generation of kids is a pharmaceutical sales rep's dream come true. More than 1 million American children under 5 years old takes a psychiatric drug. That is absolutely insane. And it goes on to say more than 8.3 million kids under 17 have consumed psychiatric drugs. And in any given month, 1 in 4 is taking at least one prescription drug for something. That explains a lot. They have a great graphic here. It says a new groundbreaking survey of hundreds of homeschooled American children found that compared to the unvaccinated children, the vaccinated children had higher odds of developing the following conditions: 2.4 times chronic illness, 2.9 times eczema. And just so you know, the eczema stuff from the vaccines is your body, your skin is your biggest organ. And your body's trying to get out all these toxic things that they throw in the vaccines. It's unbelievable what they throw in. It's like, you couldn't have picked more crazy, weird, gross things to put into a injection. It's like they picked as many of them as they possibly could. And so your body's trying to get rid of them, and that actually ends up looking like eczema. So your skin will have sores and stuff. It's because it's toxic. 3.7 times neurodevelopmental disorder, 4.2 times autism, 4.2 times ADHD. ADHD is kind of a bit of a weird one. I don't think that's even really a thing. But 5.2 times learning disabilities and 30 times allergic rhinitis. And again, the allergy stuff is because you're putting in toxic stuff and your body's trying to deal with it. And so it shows up looking like allergies. But given all that information, you would think that not many people would want vaccines, but you actually see so many people almost begging for them right now, which is all part of the problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem. It's mostly a fake problem. They get the reaction, people beg for the vaccines, and then they give it to them. And here's an article that says, U.S. university requiring both flu and COVID-19 vaccines for students to enter campus. And as far as I know, there is no COVID-19 vaccine, but the article says many U.S. health officials and pharmaceutical operatives are claiming that the only way for society to return to normal is for every single person to receive a vaccination. Otherwise, it will take far longer for humans to reach collective immunity against COVID-19. While this top-down narrative does not reflect reality, few in the media or politics seem brave enough to challenge it. So if they end up vaccinating billions of people, we're going to see hundreds of millions of sick people. And the ones that won't get too sick, they'll be quite young and a really good immune system. They'll be able to deal with having all these toxins in them. But not to mention all the tracking, the passports you're going to need now showing you have these vaccines. Like, this is pretty much the most evil plot ever devised. I think it was kind of written about in the Bible. That's how evil it was with the mark of the beast that Bill Gates is doing. It's pretty amazing. Like, I used to read through that stuff. I'm like, I wonder if that will ever happen, that sort of a stuff. And how it happens is what's unbelievable. I could never have guessed how they would do all this stuff.